Hello everyone, my name is May Park. Welcome to another Hero Arts video. Today I'm going to show you how to make a card using paper layering die and watercolor background. This is the paper layering Lotus die that allows you to create elegant dimensional cut paper design. These are my few attempts I've tried using paper layering Lotus die. By the way, please excuse my band-aid finger. I just cut my hand with scissors right before I start filming the video. I've already cut down my watercolor paper into 4¼ by 5½ out of Artist watercolor paper. So I'm starting out by taping down my watercolor paper onto the chipboard paper using painter's tape. This will keep my paper from warping as I watercolor. I'll be using one of my favorite watercolor paints, which is Gradake Kansai Tambi 36 watercolor set. I chose the round paintbrush size 12 just because I'm gonna create a watercolor wash background. You can use a small paintbrush if you want, but it'll be hard for you to achieve the same effect. I'm picking up the colors using my wet paintbrush and applying on my paper. If you want your colors to blend each other, you may want to wet your paper first with lots of water before you apply some colors. I didn't wet down my paper because I don't want my colors to spread out, so I can create kind of bold watercolor stripes. Then I'm using my heat tool to dry the paint before I add more colors. If you feel intimidated by watercoloring, this watercolor wash technique can be your starting point before you start watercoloring the images. It is super simple and easy. Now I'm gonna turn on some music and speed up the process. I'll be back once I'm done with my watercolor background. I'm using my heat tool again to dry my paint, then I'll be adding some ink splatters using Hero Arts Unicorn White Spray. I'm gonna heat my watercolor piece with my heat tool one more time to make sure that everything is dry before I move on. It's now time for die cutting. I'm placing my Lotus die on a piece of watercolor paper and running it through my Cutterbox die cutting machine. This paper layering die will allow me to cut the paper partially so the Lotus can still attach on the paper. But I'll be cutting out the Lotus using scissors. Since it has cut lines, it's easy to cut out whole design. Then I'm gonna pop out each petal using my tweezer. Now I'll be working on my sentiment. I'm prepping a piece of dark gray cardstock with Inka Dinka Do embossing magic powder bag as I'll be heat embossing my sentiment. I'm pulling out a few different sentiments and mounting them on an acrylic block and inking up with Versamark watermark ink. I'll apply some white embossing powder and tap off the excess. I'm using my small paintbrush to flick away any stray powder from sticking to unwanted areas. Then I'll heat set the sentiments with my heat tool until they are completely melted. I'm peeling up the tape and removing this from the chipboard. I'm gonna mount my watercolor panel on A2 size top folding card using double-sided tape. I'll be mounting the Lotus die cut on my card front along with some gold metallic thread. I'm making sure to put some tiny foam tapes under the cut lines. It'll help my Lotus staying in shape with the dimension. I'm finishing off my card by popping up my sentiment banner using foam tape. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed watching my video and got some inspiration to create your own card using paper layering die. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.